In Hong Kong, the trial of Jimmy Lai is wrapped up. The defense has ended its final arguments. And so any day now, we're expecting a verdict and a decision by the court as to whether he goes to jail for life or whether he gets any prison time at all or whether there's some kind of leniency. And this is really important because Jimmy Lai is China's most famous political prisoner. China has thousands of political prisoners. Most of us can't remember a single name, but Jimmy Lai's name sticks out. He was an extraordinary hero, a champion for freedoms and democracy in Hong Kong, freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of political protest, economic freedoms. He came to Hong Kong when he was 12 years old for economic opportunity. He was a stowaway in a boat. And he came to seek his fortune, which he made. He's a self-made billionaire in the clothing retail business, working from the factory floor on up. And he is also the the founder of Apple Daily, a free press in Hong Kong that has now been closed by the Chinese Communist Party, in which he spoke frankly. He wrote frankly about his opposition to the communist system, the one-party communist system, the censorship of free speech. And he said, yes, I'm an anti-communist. He wrote in it, I am an anti-communist because I believe in freedom. And he believed in freedom for others as well. And even though he was able to leave Hong Kong at one point before he was arrested, he did not leave because he wanted to define who he was as a person, and he wanted to stand in solidarity with 2,000 others that have been arrested and are political prisoners now in Hong Kong. He was arrested 5 years ago. His trial has been going on for 21 months. This has been a grueling time for him. He is charged with this vague offense of colluding with foreign powers, and that is not defined in law. Colluding is not defined in American law either. And Hong Kong was very proud of its legal system, which it inherited from the British. It had a strong rule of law, strong sense of fairness and due process. These guaranteed Hong Kong's freedoms. And this trial is more than about Jimmy Lai's fate. It's really about the fate of these freedoms. And it's these freedoms of transparency, of free press, freedom of information that made it so economically vibrant. And Hong Kong is legendary in Asia for having been a center of entrepreneurship and finance. And whether that will continue remains to be seen. What the court decides about Jimmy Lai is going to be determined to a great extent what that means for the future. China has a very draconian punishment system. The national security law under which Jimmy Lai is being prosecuted is vague. It's being imposed ex post facto to him. It's for what he said and did before the law was adopted in 2020. It was actually dictated by the Chinese Communist Party and imposed on Hong Kong, which had been democratic and free up until that point. And it has relied on convicted perjurers for its witnesses against Jimmy Lai. And the court boasts of 100% conviction rate, which basically makes it a kangaroo court. It's a foregone conclusion by many observers that Jimmy Lai will be found guilty by this court, that it is doing the bidding of the Chinese Communist Party. And the only question is the sentence. Will Jimmy Lai be sentenced to a prison term in this horrible situation, or even in a worse situation that we see in China, where prisoners in China are treated extremely harshly? They have often been, especially the Uyghur Muslims, Tibetan Buddhists, Falun Gong have died or disappeared in the penal system. Died under suspicious circumstances, unexplained circumstances. It's no wonder his family and the people who care about him are very concerned about what this sentence will bring. There are known instances of leniency. China's not known for its clemency. It does not believe in mercy, and it's rather transactional. But it will, to protect its reputation and its trade privileges in the West, including in the United States, it has been known to let go prisoners. And it really will depend on the pressure brought by, say, the UK. Jimmy Lai is a dual citizen. If the UK brought some pressure, say a prisoner exchange, there's hope that Jimmy Lai might be released. The United States has a lot of pressure, of course, in trade and tariffs. But there's also other things that can be done. President Donald Trump, for example, could follow the example that was done by Ronald Reagan during the Cold War, and that is to name a street in Washington, preferably one right next to the Chinese embassy in Washington, after Jimmy Lai. Call it Jimmy Lai Way. It can be a street, it can be a plaza, but it would be a monument to this man's heroism, his championship for democracy and freedom, on which America is founded. And it would be a permanent reminder to the world of these atrocities and repression against Hong Kong and against its own people that China has been perpetrating for so many decades.